It's September 19th, 2025. I'm reading from my book, Uriel's Word, A Lightworker's Journey. This is episode 12. This nonfiction book is dedicated to all the valiant starseeds, lightworkers, healers, shamans, spiritual warriors, mystics, peacemakers, and seers, old and young, and their intrepid helpers who have come here in the service of humanity at this time of great change. All persons' names have been changed. From the foreword, enduring the absurd, such a dignity can come to us, enduring the absurd with forbearance and humor. Elegant becomes the countenance of one who exemplifies patience. That's a poem by Hafiz, quoted from page 148 of A Year with Hafiz by Daniel Ladinsky. Chapter 26, The Blue Deer. One hot summer day, about 1995, I was at home reading a book by an anthropologist about his experiences in South America, or it might have been Mexico, where he lived with an indigenous tribe for 2 years. He felt honored when they invited him to participate in their hunt for the blue deer, the spirit deer. He didn't elaborate on what that hunt entailed, if I recall, because of its sacred nature. At that point in his story, I lay down for a short nap and then went downstairs to my art studio space in the garage. I puttered around in preparation for painting, and I was musing on what I'd plant in my deck planters, which needed more soil. I noticed a large soil-filled planter pot the old homeowner had left behind in the garage. Deciding to test the soil's consistency, I poked a spoon down a few inches and hit something solid, which I dug up and brushed off. It was a porcelain head and torso figurine of a blue doe. Really stunning. Synchronicity manifest. That deer went straight into my altar as the central figure. I had begun collecting small figurines of animals when I was 11 years old. The first animal I picked out was a clear aqua turquoise glass hen. My mother had taken me to the Bay department store to choose a gift, any item I wanted, to try and make me feel better after a particularly long and brutal dental appointment. Another date with mercury poisoning, but of course she did not know that. She asked me if I was sure this little hen was really what I wanted, as it cost only 25 cents. I was sure. By my early 40s, I had dozens of animals, all natural materials, and my daily practice was to arrange them and other found natural objects, light a candle, and say my prayers there, dedicated to the welfare of all beings. Very interesting that my doe was exactly the same color as my glass chicken, as that color is a recurring theme. The other images I have found of the spirit deer shows it is a deeper, more electric blue. There was no internet to speak of in 1995 when I unearthed this doe, and it was many years later that I looked into that further for more info. How interesting to then connect some dots. The huichol, or Wisharitari, I can never pronounce these things, the people of northwest Mexico revere the blue deer, Kayamari, as their spirit guide, Peyote. It is said to be from the Pleiades constellation. Alcyon is the central star of the Pleiades' 7 sisters, and also called the hen with her 6 chicks. Astrologically, it's located at 0 degrees Gemini, which is my MC highest point, directly opposite my Saturn IC. And also, deer is my above totem in the North American Native tradition. In March 2020, I listened to an ATP podcast of Karen Swain's. Her guest was Shayla Sananda, a shamanic practitioner who spoke about activating our DNA potentials. She said the Pleiadian Earth Mothers are the four founders of the human race. I found that interesting. I mentioned this again in one of the Mothers chapter. Things tend to overlap, I've noticed, when writing about this stuff. Like it doesn't fit into neat little boxes. Going back to age 11 or so, 1967, I recall a family friend who was a pianist and composer bringing his new piece, entitled Father Peyote, over to our house. It was a piece for 4 hands on piano, and he and my eldest sister practiced it all afternoon. I hung around close by to listen, entranced. It was so rich and dramatic sounding and enchanting. Then, about 1979, I had an experience with taking peyote, just that one time. Besides the brilliant colors, what was vividly featured was angelic and then demonic, good and evil, personified in the person I was with. A kind of Jekyll-Hyde personality thing, which turned out to be quite accurate too. And that theme of good and evil and other polarities has been in education, which I mention in my chapter Dream of Angels, more overlap. About 2016, I went to an exhibit of Huichol Mexican yarn paintings at our local college art gallery. Each yarn painting was so vibrant and many-hued. Placed on the floor below each piece was a small clay pot for offerings. I put in an offering very gratefully for that gorgeous image of the magical blue deer. June 22nd, 2024. I had been writing this chapter about the blue deer and had a dream, a good feeling dream, of which I could recall only that at the end a voice, was it my own voice, declared, "I'm a Huichol mama." I will mention the prayer that was my daily altar practice. It was from a book I loved by James Twyman, The Emissaries of Light. He called the 12 prayers he'd collected from different faiths and cultures the peace seeds. I loved the Buddhist prayer best, and so began my Tonglen practice. Chapter 27, Fridge Poems. Say wow! That's a quote from Chilean Harkin, who's a rather Sufi-like poet. It's also called blind picks because that's how I did them, like another kind of divination. They're also just really fun to do. Picture is worth 1,000 words. On flat magnets, I made words and colored pictures in miniature for a vocabulary. And it's in a container, just a big, well, not that big of a container, but I have hundreds of words and pictures that I could use with the fridge as a slate. It's fun. So I'll just read some and then I might try and bring this rig to just show you. Because eloquent but kind. Conjure, traverse, electric, turquoise, awesome, everywhere. Beauty, hummingbird, because sweetheart, yogi. Neptune, action, fun. Someone, poetry, love, just choose thank. Forgiveness, that'll do, pig. Loving divine answer. Gratitude journey, gorgeous, remember commanding truth. Together, genuine, warm wisdom, unique angels. Delicious forest, listen. Humor, remember, free. Victory, here's impeccable reward. Forgiveness, palms, soul, wisdom. Now I would pause this if it had such a function on my video, but apparently it's not the case anymore. So I'll just do this. And that concludes episode 12, and that is the end of my book. Signing off.